Welcome back to the Drive Podcast with your boy
DJ Quest One.
and your girl Shay T. Last time we had some great conversation, a little bit about Uvalde and
Right. Uvalde shooting and stuff, and homelessness, and parenting.
okay.
Yeah.
And so this time we're going to talk about something a little more relevant to everyday life. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yes. Online dating. A lot of people have done it. Some people don't like it. You've done it. We want to talk about the pros and cons and our experiences. So,
Look,
there's a lot of people that have gone through it and don't ever want to do it again, and there's people that want to keep doing it and trying to find their perfect soulmate.
let me just start off with this part. So, a couple of things. So, one is that to me, online dating is just like meeting people in person because
Right.
they could be a fraud in person and they could be a fraud online. Okay? But the other thing is, I just have to say, that there are women who are online selling themselves.
Right.
And hey, I mean, if, you know what? There's a I don't know how I want to say that. There's somewhere that you do that, but don't let it be on an app. Like, I've definitely had people in the past like trying to come at me sideways because they've run across so many free women or women selling themselves, and they just imagine that everybody is giving something away for free. So, I've definitely had to kind of check some people.
Yeah. I've done Tinder. I've done Bumble, which is where I met my girlfriend. But
Go, Rick. Go,
but
Rick.
it's hit or miss sometimes. I've done Facebook dating, and I did Match a long time ago, and Match was kind of weird. Like I met some people that said they were, but it wasn't them on the picture. So catfish, yes. So that was not cool.
No.
So if it was up to me, with COVID, it's not completely gone, but everything's more open now. If it was to me, I would be willing to just meet someone in person, go to them, library, church, maybe,
Grocery store.
concerts.
Or maybe concerts, maybe
Grocery
sports
store,
events.
sports events,
stores,
yes.
Right, yeah.
But some people are timid. Some of the
A
guys.
little shy.
It takes a little. Some guys, it takes courage for them to go up to a woman because they're scared to get rejected. But if you're willing to take the chance, you're taking a chance online already, meeting someone. So
Yeah.
what is it to communicate with someone? Say, hey, how are you doing?
Right.
Right?
But I mean, I don't know that people meet as much like that anymore. I mean,
Everyone's on their phones.
everybody's on their phones. We were, a girlfriend and I were at Cheesecake Factory over there, Memorial City Mall, the other day. And so we're sitting there, and there's like a couple sitting next to us. I mean, literally. I mean, they almost like did not even realize the other person was like across the table from them. They were so. And I'm like, well, dang. I mean, they look like they should have just gone to lunch individually. Like
Were they in their 20s?
Probably late. Yes, maybe late.
Yeah,
20s or
that's what
something.
this generation is. It's
That's
coming
not
to.
a date. That's a let's meet up so I can continue communicating with others via my phone while I ignore you. That's what that was.
I can get on Facebook, or I can get on Snapchat. I understand. Yeah.
That was so befuddled by that. Like, what are they doing? I mean, I don't mean to judge them. I just was like,
Yeah,
is
you
this really a
communicate.
date?
People that grew up in the 80s, 70s,
Look, don't try to date me. I'm not that
90s,
young. Don't try to put no date on
90s,
me.
you know what I mean? I grew up in the 90s. I grew up in the 90s, and we didn't have cell phones. They had cell phones, but the block ones. Then you weren't gonna be on.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, you're not gonna be on your cell phone on that.
Pause.
They couldn't. You had to be rich, and it was like $1,000. I don't know how
They
much.
were expensive.
I
Yeah.
don't know how much it was, but ultimately you couldn't use it to get on Facebook. So, go back to the 90s or the 80s, whichever era prior to cell phones, people were at dinner communicating with each other.
Laughing, talking, asking questions, telling stories, inquiring. So, like recently, so I'll just tell you, so I'm happily divorced, and so my ex and I were, how shall I put this kindly, unequally yoked.
Mm-hmm.
So that did not work out, of course.
Okay.
And so right now, so I've been kind of looking online, and I've tried a couple of apps. So I'm just gonna be straight. So when I put like my actual age, which is like 1,000, not that I look 1,000.
It's not 1,000.
But,
she's a vampire.
But yeah, for real though. So when I put my actual age on like one or two apps, I mean, I was getting very little hits, and I'm like, I could see if my conversation was not there, or if I was like a dog, or if I was, I don't know, if I don't know, but I did not portray myself like that, and so I think it was an age thing. So then I went to a different app, and then I put like 4 years under my age. Usually if I start talking to the person, I will let them know this is my actual age, because they had an opportunity to walk away at that moment, right? But when they look at me, they're like, you're how old? So they don't ever believe me anyway. So anyway, you're talking about hundreds of hits, and tall, short, chunky, fine, dark, light, different cultures. In my experience on this last app,
what's the name
I
of that?
found, I don't want people looking me up on.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm off of there now, so they can go. So it was Plenty of Fish. Was Plenty of Fish.
Oh no, that's
there.
the worst.
But you know what? There have been. That's where I met my ex-husband. I guess maybe I should have known that, right? But anyway, so I found in my experience. I've met like it's a lot of Africans. There's a few Caucasians, but there are a lot of fake accounts or fake profiles.
Right.
And there was this one guy, and he was like, he said he was military, and so I was like, I just knew at the beginning, I'm like, he's lying. So, but I was like, okay, let me just ride this train a little further to see, what he says and stuff. And so then I started asking questions. Well, of course, I'm former military, and I'm asking questions. And as soon as he answered those questions, I was like, fake, delete, block, because the questions, the answers did not match up. None of it made any sense. And so some people don't have that background, so they don't know what makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But because I know better, then I was like, so, yeah, no.
The very first dating I did online was on AOL chat.
Oh, I think I did that 1,000 years ago. I told y'all I was 1,000 years old.
You would put like, your age, your race, and, if you're female. Yeah, I remember that. I would put like, at the time I was like 24, Hispanic, male. You know what I mean? And then I met a couple of girls on there. I did.
I don't remember at that age really. I don't remember.
It used to be a chat.
I remember being.
It was for singles. It was a chat for singles.
I don't remember being online at that stage because I was in school.
I think I was 25. I think I was 25 at the time. Yeah, 25, 26, I think.
And so, what was your experience in? What was your good? What was your bad?
For which app?
For just overall.
When I started, there was this one, I think Match. I met her, and we never met. And then I was at a club, and she came up to me, and she's like, "Hey, you're that guy that matched with me." It was so weird. And she happened to be a sister of an anchor in San Antonio. Like the sister was on TV, and I was dating her. She was an RN. It was cool. She looked like what she looked like. But then the other girl that I met did not look like what she looked like.
So she catfished you.
She catfished. She catfished. And then I got into a relationship after that, which I went up to that girl. I didn't go online. But I've noticed that the experiences, it's hit or miss sometimes, I did, I also did MySpace back in the day.
For dating?
Yes.
Okay.
You could see their profile and send them a message. I did that a couple of times, and they were who they were. But it's just like anything, you know. I guess it's like gambling sometimes, because you never know. Now what happens is there's a documentary called The Tinder Swindler, and I've never had any luck on Tinder. I think Tinder is more of someone that's under, between 25 and 30, maybe 31. I don't know. You know.
Is it the that's a hookup site?
It's a hookup site. It's a hookup site. Sometimes they get straight to the point, but some are a lot of robots.
Because you could tell by the messages they send you.
Yes.
Right? I think that's the same thing on Plenty of Fish.
Yeah.
And then to me, I feel like I saw some messages that the ones that didn't match my questions, like I ask you a question, but the response is something goofy.
Yeah.
So I think that it's some of those are definitely swindlers. Some of those apps are definitely swindling you, trying to make you think, you got 500 people when it's really only 50 or something.
Yeah, and I know that when they do is like, hey, how are you? You're very handsome. You're very good looking. And I'm like, are you dedicated in Houston? And they'll be like, yes. Okay, what part? And then they'll be like, you're very good looking. Like the same thing. It's like scripted. And I'm like, I'm asking, where are you from?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I found myself asking, like, did you read my previous question?
Yeah.
And so I need to think about that. But I mean, some of the people that actually is like that, I asked, did you answer my previous question or did you read it? I actually ended up talking to a couple. So, I'm just going to say that there was this guy that I met in person before. When West Oaks Mall was really a mall and not just like a shell of a mall. I was coming out of West Oaks Mall and there was this guy and then he comes up to me, he starts talking or whatever. From the outside looking in, from the outside he seemed to have a decent appearance according to what I typically like or whatever. But anyway, so he asked for my number. I was like, okay, whatever, it's just a number, right? I think I gave him my Google number. But anyway, so
your Google number.
Yes.
See that? Learn Google number. Don't give out your real number. You can go on Google and make up your own number and you can still get it on your phone.
So yeah, but he was scary.